Okie doke. So today's today's topic is about muscle and how to properly grow muscle using Ayurveda. And that's what the topic is about. But again, as usual, you are all welcome to ask me questions, and I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Yeah, then we'll take it from here. Hi, Debanti. Hi, Priyanka. All right, so let's just ground really quick and we'll do a chat.
Servant in her own home. Cinderella did all of the.
Okay, sounds good. Somebody is talking, somebody is thinking about Cinderella, but want to have muscles. Let's see how we'll do that. All right, let's close our eyes really quick and do a chant. Namami Dhanvantarim Adidevam Surasurairvandita Padapadmam Loke Jararugбhayamrutyunasham Dhataramisham Vividhaushadhinam Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay. All right. Welcome all again. Good. Many people wants to get muscle. We have a full house today. That's good. So we're about muscle, right? This is the most common question that I get in the clinic, and that's why I thought that we'll talk about this and we'll have questions around this as well. In our initial classes, we spoke about what is Vata, what is Pitta, and what is Kapha. And if you don't remember any of that, you're more than welcome to go back and listen to the recordings. And we spoke about dhatus. Yeah. So the plasma, the blood, the muscle, third tissue is your muscle, right? And what is the function of this third tissue? The function of this tissue, mamsa, is lepana karma, which means covering. It is the one that provides the covering for everything beneath it. The nerves, the blood, plasma, all of this is covered by this muscle. Now, if we have 7 children, taking care of only one child is not right, correct? We're always like, but what about my muscle? But what about my muscle is what we always think about. Of course, the reason we want to think about it is the covering structure for all of this. And it's important that we keep it strong. And that also denotes the strength of us, the muscle tissue. Now, what are a few things that we would have to do to maintain that muscle? Let's talk about the foods first. What kind of foods must we eat? A lot of times when you start going to gym and working out, it is very, very common to start with a protein shake. It's important to have a pre-workout drink and a post-workout drink, and also to make sure that you have the number of protein, the calories that you get from protein is also important. But I also see after you start this and you do this for about few months, I also see that there is a lot of inflammation increase that happens. There's a lot of bloating. There's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of indigestion that increases. So if you're using this protein powder, without taking into account your digestive fire, there must be a proteolytic, right? You want to make sure that this protein that you're taking is breaking down properly. If it is not breaking down properly, then we have seen in the original classes as to how this stays as undigested food in the body. And this undigested food is the cause for many conditions. Forget about absorption, forget about conversion. Now we have to deal with this waste that is present in the body. So, first and foremost, I am not saying that it is a right thing or a wrong thing to take protein powder. It's absolutely okay for you to take a whey protein or a pea protein and take it especially with a warm water and mix it and take it early in the morning when you're able to digest it well. It is okay. But observe how you're digesting it. Observe how your body is feeling after you take this. If few months later or a few weeks later you notice that you're not tolerating other foods, then you have to go back and think about, okay, maybe there is indigestion that's happening because of this protein. So taking whole protein is important instead of taking the extract of the protein, because we spoke about how these extracts do not have proper life force. Having life force in the food is as much important for absorption. So for that, what are the foods that Ayurveda talks about? They are given the highest space. Lentils are given the number one. I shouldn't say lentils. If there are non-vegetarians, if you're able to eat meat, the number one thing that can give you proper protein is meat. There's no doubt, hands down. And but that's only if you're a meat eater. If you're not a meat eater, then Ayurveda does not say that you change your diet and you start eating meat. You can continue to eat meat if you come from a meat eating family. Then meat soups and bone broths are going to be extremely beneficial because samanyam vruddhi vardhanam, which means like increases like. And meat increases your muscle, number one. And the next thing, if you're a vegetarian, you would want to include your lentils. Now, lentils have good amount of protein. It's not like they're completely protein only. They have carbs in it as well. They're not completely protein. But remember, for it to be broken down, it has to be unctuous. It has to have proper amount of ghee with it, which is why when you make your lentils, any way you make your lentils, you make a lentil soup or you make a lentil crepe, you boil your lentils and you eat it as lentils, or you make hummus out of it. However you make your lentils, you want to make sure that it has proper amount of oleation in it. And this oleation, the best oleation that you want to give with it is ghee and sesame oil. Now, how many of you here who have attended my classes in the past can tell me what the fourth tissue is after mamsa? So we spoke about rasa, rakta, and mamsa is your third tissue. What is the fourth tissue in order? Anybody wants a gold medal who has been attending my classes? Nobody. No, Jay Didi, you're not allowed to answer.
Nerves.
Nerve does not come under a tissue. Okay. Meda dhatu, which is the fat tissue, right after the muscle. So the strength of the body depends upon the fat tissue as well. The stronger the fat tissue, the stronger our strength is. But if it is not in its proper shape, size, and manner, if it does not have a proper, quality to it. Just like the atta that we speak about all the time, the proper consistency is not there, then that creates a lot of problem. So the next issue after Meda Dhatu is after Mamsa Dhatu is your Meda Dhatu, which is why the breaking down this unctuousness in your lentils is necessary to break down your proteins as well. And for your Mamsa to be able to get that amount of nourishment. Yeah. So lentils in all of these forms, you can make, like a sattu powder. So all the different varieties that you can use lentils are, you're going to be able to boil your lentils and make sure whenever you boil your lentils, you're adding proper unctuousness to it. You add proper herbs and spices to it, cumin, coriander powder, turmeric, garlic, ginger, if you want to add, and you want to add coriander, mint, all of this proper spices and herbs you add so that it can break down properly. That's the second. And third is make it into a crepe, or you can make it into hummus. That's also another variety that you can make. So these are all the different varieties that you can use and make a soup out of the lentils. Yeah, 5 varieties we spoke about. Then the other thing that you would want to include for sure in your diet is going to be your milk. I know here, if you're a vegan, and for purposes of not torturing cows, and if that's the reason that you converted into a vegan, I understand. But otherwise, I would prefer that you include good quality milk in your diet. And the good quality milk that I always talk about is A2 raw milk. And here in the Bay Area, we are able to get raw milk, and make sure that you boil. And today in the clinic, we were talking about, they were like, I drink 5 cups of milk a day. I'm like, great, but they're drinking cold milk. That is not going to be digesting at all. And I'm not saying that you want to drink 5 cups of it also. Again, we know that milk has lots of restrictions of how it should be mixed with. It cannot be mixed with fruits. It cannot be mixed with sour, salty foods. So drinking milk by itself, you can add a dollop of ghee to it, mix it, add a pinch of cardamom powder, add a pinch of turmeric powder to it, and drink that in the morning. That can be your protein replacement as well. Make sure that it is warm. Yeah. And soaked almonds. These are also very, very good source of your protein. Make sure that you soak them so that the nutrient quality is going to be increased. You can include 10 to 15 almonds. You can soak them overnight. Even walnuts are okay. These are the best ones. Do not include cashews or peanuts, because the reason being, cashews being very heavy to digest and peanuts being very heating and inflammatory it has inflammation. So include almonds in your diet, and that's going to be very, very beneficial. And if you're a meat eater, it's okay to include scrambled eggs. Now, if you're a vegan and you don't eat any milk products and you don't eat ghee and milk as well, sesame oil along with lentils, and using, like the besan to make the chilas, and using the sattu powder is your option. Yeah, so that is how intake of food must be done. Again, all of these foods must be taken in a way that you are taking your digestive fire into consideration. If you don't take that into consideration, then again, you're not going to get good quality you're not going to get good quality muscle, but it's going to be leading to indigestion, and it's going to be leading to other kind of problems. Yeah. Now that we spoke about intake, what are the other things that you can do externally? Because intake is dependent on the digestive fire. What are other things that you can do to make sure that your muscle grows? Again, question to all my regular attendees that we spoke about this in the past. What's my favorite one thing that you can do to improve your muscle quality externally? What is it internally? We spoke about eating all these qualities of foods. What is one thing that I always talk about externally? And this,
Exercising.
yes, that is one thing that is good. Exercise.
Yoga.
Yoga, yes.
Abhyanga. Strength training.
Yeah. Something Trini got it right. Yes. So it is Abhyanga, applying warm oil. Again, you can use any medicated oil if you want to, the medicated oil that you can use depending on what your dosha is. If you have Vata dosha, you can use Bala Ashwagandha Tailam. Or if you have Pitta dosha, you can also use Mahanarayana Tailam. If there is Kapha dosha, you can use Bala Guduchyadi Tailam. Or Mahanarayana Tailam can be used as well. Or plain sesame oil. You can just warm sesame oil, apply it all over your body. I cannot stress enough about it. I know I keep telling and I might be boring you about it, but the reason I repeat it again and again is because I want you to use it and experience it yourself. Then you will know that it's not just intake of things, but just applying. This is something that I would do for my kids until they were, not allowing me to do it anymore for them. But both of them are baseball players themselves, so they need to have proper nourishment. So I would do it for them. And when they come back from games and when their muscles are fully sore, this is one thing that I do for them. And if they have any kind of any injury they have, pouring of the oil. So this oleation externally, again, we spoke about how next to Mamsa Dhatu is Meda Dhatu. This oil that we give is seeped into the skin and Drudhikarana of the skin. The strengthening of the skin is also going to happen when you apply oil. Now, this application of the oil, make sure you do it on empty stomach. Do not do it ever on full stomach, and do not ever do it when you're sick, when there is fever, cold, congestion, cough, allergies, any of this is happening, then don't apply oil at all. But if you are healthy and if you have empty stomach, make sure you apply oil. Then you go for workout, if that is a possibility. Again, someone said workout. Yes. Why is workout going to be beneficial for muscle? How is it going to be benefiting your muscle? Because again, we spoke about how right after your muscle is your Meda Dhatu. You want to do the Drudhikarana of the Meda Dhatu. You want to make sure that there is a proper structure that is created for the Meda Dhatu. When you're exercising, ayasajanakam vyayamam, which means that anything that increases your respiratory rate, your breath, is vyayama, exercise. That can be running, jogging, biking, hiking, swimming, jump roping, anything that you can do. When you do that, then the excess, you sweat, which means the excessive water that is present in the body comes out, and that will allow for the drudhikarana of the Meda Dhatu, which is your fat tissue, and thus your muscles also become stronger. You're toning your muscle that way. And along with toning your muscle, this also is increasing your digestive fire. When you increase your digestive fire, you're then able to increase your proteolytic enzymes. And these proteolytic enzymes will be able to break down the protein that you eat and will be able to make your tissues. Because there's nothing that will make your tissues other than the intake that you give. So for that intake to be broken down properly is why you include this exercise. Yeah. So that is the lifestyle that you would want to include. Yes, Debanti.
So did you say that you had to do the Abhyanga before exercise? Because I've been trying, I've been doing it after, and it feels really nice after. But are you
Absolutely, you can. And practically, I say that I do. I mean, I know a Dinacharya class last time, I did say that that's what I do for myself. Practically, that is possible. Practically, that is what's feasible. But I'm just giving you what is mentioned in the textbook. You would have to, because prevention is the key in Ayurveda. We never talk about treatment later, right? I mean, of course, treatment is also given, but prevention. So even before the muscles go through any of this ringing and all of this that's happening, we're providing the shield before that happens. So that's why they have mentioned you, because vata increases. Whenever you do exercise, vata increases. Abhyanga reduces vata. So ideally, what you would have to do is apply oil all over your body, put clothes that you don't care, and then you go out for a run, hike, jog. You don't want people next to you smell you, but whatever. Or if you're doing your yoga, you don't want to be slipping and falling. You want to make sure that there is no fall risk, if that is a possibility. But I don't do that. Practically, I just exercise. I just apply all over my body, shower, and then go to work, because that's just practically possible. Yeah, it is. That's the easiest way. So don't worry, you're doing the right way. You're still getting benefit. Karthik.
Hey, hey Manju, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Hey, doing good. Hey, I wanted to ask you one clarifying question. Like, I'm a little bit confused. So,
Sure.
the massage that's done at your center, that's a
Correct.
different one than what you're telling over here, or is it very similar, like applying?
It's very similar. It's very similar, but then you will not have somebody applying it for you. You apply
Okay,
it for yourself, which
okay,
is warming the oil. You will have to warm your oil. Typically, what I do is you have like a hot plate, and on the hot plate, you put a steel container with
mhm,
oil, and it takes about a minute to two for it to heat up. And then you just take that container and you apply oil all over your body, and you leave it on for about, ideally 20 minutes is ideal, but who has 20 minutes time, right? I don't have 20 minutes time. I just leave it on for about 1 to 2 minutes and then go into the hot shower. And that's the steam. So in the clinic, what we do is we put you in the steam tent and we
mm,
allow the steam to come. And the steam that you're getting is from the hot shower.
got it. And then,
All
and
of,
then, sorry.
yes, Karthik, go ahead.
Yeah, and then for the muscle mass, like, do you recommend like kind of doing these weightlifting things repetition, or do you think more weights? Like, do you have any recommendation of like how to build that mass as you're losing fat along with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So ideally, what does Ayurveda talk about? Ayurveda talks about ayasajanakam vyayamam, which is cardio. That's what it talks about. But to increase the muscle mass, there are three things that you have to consider. Are you a vata personality or a pitta personality or a kapha personality? For that, you would probably have to go to my previous classes, but I'll tell you in short what it is. So Vata is a personality that is very lean and has a lot of air element and a space element in them already, right? So there's not a lot of oleation in their body. Then you wouldn't want to start with muscle building already. You want to make sure that you're intaking some amount of oleation in the form of ghee, milk, almonds, and all of that. Make sure that there is some amount of fat protection before you do the weights. If not, there's going to be tear that's going to be happening. So you want to make sure that the oleation internally and externally is happening for this vata personality, and also continuing with your cardio to make sure that the digestive fire is increasing, and include weights only to the extent that you can handle. Do not overdo. Yeah, that is for vata. A vata personality who has a lot of air and space element. Now, if it is a pitta personality, then you have medium capacity strength and you have good digestive fire also. So you can include proteins, you can the protein or the foods that we spoke about right now, and you can include medium amount of cardio and medium amount of, so you want to make sure that you are spacing out both. You're not only doing weights, you always have to include both. And if it is a kapha personality, you have a lot of unctuousness already. So it's not necessary that you are including more protein, including a lot of, you don't have to worry about a lot of internal consumption. You want to make sure that you are doing more cardio so that more digestive fire is created, and you can include moderate amount of weights. Yes, weight is necessary for toning. Your cardio is necessary for increasing your digestive fire so that whatever you're eating is breaking down properly, and weights are necessary to tone. I hope that helped yeah,
Yes,
Karthik.
thank you. Thank you, Manju.
Absolutely. So, along with this, yes, we spoke about what we need to intake, and we also spoke about how we need to make sure that we're including the lifestyle. Two lifestyles we spoke about, Abhyanga, and we spoke about how to use exercise. What time do we have to exercise? Of course, exercise we spoke about, it's necessary to be done in the morning because that's a kapha kala. That's something that we spoke about in the previous classes. Kapha kala is the time which is in the morning time, or in the mid evening, earlier part of the evening, between 4 to 6, if that's a possibility. You would never want to do it after 6 because that will disrupt your sleep pattern. It's important that you have proper amount of sleep. You are giving that proper amount of sleep to your tissues, proper amount of rest to your tissues. So you don't want to exercise it in the later part of the day.
Hello. Oh,
Hi.
hi. Hi, my name is Raj Parma.
Hi.
Hello, Manjuri.
Hi, Raj.
I
How
have
are
a
you?
couple of questions, actually. I thought everybody's asking. I was waiting till the end. My first question is, since you said it's a preventive, right? For a person who already has this arthritis problem and
Mhm.
age and everything,
Mhm.
so the exercise is not possible. The rigorous exercise is not possible. How
Mhm.
about the stretches? The mild stretches are
Mhm.
okay for. Will they help?
Absolutely. Now, again, Raj, it all depends on what kind of arthritis this is, right? If it is
Osteo. Yes,
if it is
osteo.
osteoarthritis, then you want to be very, very careful in the amount of exercise that you're doing, because if there is osteoarthritis, you don't want to create
Right.
more depletion, because there's depletion that's happening between
Mhm.
the bones. So
Bones, joints.
that is why you want to make sure that you're stretching along with doing all of these other internal and external things that we spoke about.
Mhm.
Stretches are extremely important. And the other thing that I'm going to talk about right now is called Achara Rasayana. Achara Rasayana is the Rasayana that is done in the form of breath work.
Okay, yeah.
Because you want to make sure that you are calming down all your tissues. You're giving
Mhm.
rest to all your tissues also. And doing the breath work, you're creating that calming nature inside your body.
Mhm.
That is also important when you're dealing with your osteoarthritis. So
Part of yoga, right?
part of yoga, absolutely.
Okay, one more question. Is sattu taken as it is, or with chilla or something? It's cooked, it's already roasted, sattu.
Correct, correct. So if it's roasted, you can absolutely mix it with warm milk.
Uh-huh.
That is how you can take it, or you can make it as a chila or like a crepe, or you can also make it. You can mix it in water and take it as well. Depending upon your hunger and depending upon your digestive capacity, you can use any of these. You want to roast it in ghee so that
Mhm.
it is completely roasted, and you can mix it. You can take 1 teaspoon of that and mix it in milk, warm milk, and then consume it, or make it into a chila. Chila is more easily digestible than mixing it in milk. So depending upon what your digestive capacity is, you can use any of these.
I thought it's already roasted and ground. It's a roasted
It is.
chana.
Correct,
So
correct.
do we need to roast it again?
It depends on, what kind of roasting is done. You can gently roast it again for that aroma, and
Okay.
then you can use it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Karthik, you have
Oh,
another question?
goodness. Hey, Manju. For my mother, I think I'll have to come in for a consultation for her. But in general, she's been diagnosed with osteoporosis, old age related.
Mhm.
So, is there a balance between muscle toning and protein intake and all these things, or do you think a consultation is essential to actually talk more about it?
So for individuals, it is always beneficial. However, what we do is in Ayurveda, we have multiple rasayanas, Karthik. We have rasayanas called Narasimha Rasayana, especially important for osteoporosis. There are multiple things that are mixed in here, which is going to allow for calcium absorption to happen. That's what this Narasimha Rasayana is for improving bone strength. That can be given. Again, depending upon what the digestive capacity is. There is something called Rasayana Churna, which is a combination of Guduchi, Amalaki, and Gokshura. And this is given early in the morning as well, which is going to be allowing for the bone strength to be increased. And along with that, these are all herbs that will be helping for the bone strength to increase. Along with that, giving external therapies and internal medications is going to be beneficial for osteoporosis. We have something called Januvasti. Januvasti is, making the well on the knees and pouring oil on that area so that the seeping of that oil is going to be happening. And that is going to be allowing for it will not, when the cartilage, there's a lot of depletion of cartilage, right? So this will allow for slower degradation or even replenishment can also happen. Again,
Got
depending
it.
on the age and
Yeah,
depending on the
got it.
severity and depending upon how chronic the condition is.
Yeah, I'll contact you, Manju, for this one. We'll schedule some time. I think because her physician is trying to put her on some injection for building the calcium. So we just wanted a consultation to see how to
Sure,
move
sure. I
forward.
mean, you can do everything together. That way,
Yep.
it's going to be beneficial.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Hi, Prasanna.
Hi, Manju. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes, I have a similar question as the lady who asked before about arthritis.
Yeah.
So, do you have diet and do you have any massages or oils that would help with my osteoarthritis situation, Manju?
Yeah. So something called Pichu is very beneficial, Prasanna. So Pichu, just like how I was telling Janu Asti, that can be done in the clinic. Instead of coming to the clinic and getting it done in the clinic, what you could do is getting a surgical cotton and pouring medicated oil in it. And generally, Mahanarayana Tailam is going to be beneficial. Warm Mahanarayana Tailam and applying it on the knees and tying it, leaving it on for about 5 to 6 hours. And if you're working in the morning and you're sitting down for some time, you can just put that on the knees and then tie it so that there's seeping of the oil happening throughout the day. Within a day, you'll actually see a lot of difference. Again, consistency is the key. You want to make sure that you are doing it for a longer time to see that benefit. That is the easiest way, along with doing all the diet that we spoke about and the stretches that we have to do, and the pranayama, which is the breath work that we have to do to create the stability in the body. You're talking.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. So my osteoarthritis is in lower back and fingers, hands. So will the same oil and the treatment you mentioned help for that too?
Okay, so if it's lower back, it becomes a little trickier. If it's knees and if it's wrist and the on the elbows, that it works. But if it's a lower back and if it is in that area, then internal medications are going to be beneficial. Or you can do Abhyanga, which is a full body oil massage before shower every day. That's also going to be beneficial. You cannot be doing Pichu for small joints. That's going to be difficult for you. But one thing that you can do is, I ask if it's a possibility, there's something called a Pinda Tailam. You can warm the Pinda Tailam and you can put it in a container and you can put your fingers in that and dip it in that while you're watching TV, while you're listening to Manju. No, just kidding. But that's what you can do to help improve, your oleation on that area. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So that is now, how many of us here, I'll ask a negative question, right? How many of us do not do breath work here?
I do.
You do. Okay. How many of us do not? Which means everybody is doing breath work.
Yes.
Prasanna is not.
Also,
Prasanna is not. I know a lot of us are not also. So
not
we have to
regular,
remember.
but yes.
So Vajanti is doing it also. Very, very important. Achara Rasayana. We think about what rasayana can I take? Can I take Chavanprash? Can I take Brahma rasayana? Can I take Narsimha rasayana? What oil can I take? What ghee can I take? How much protein? Whey protein, pea protein? What should I take? More than that, activating your own internal body's intelligence is very important. And when you are in that rhythm, when you create a rhythm in the body, then you're activating your own internal intellect. This, I'm not talking just as a theoretical thing. I have seen wonders happen. I've seen practically in the clinic. I've seen it. And for athletes also, uh, I've seen, the coaches are also implementing this these days, that, creating mindfulness and asking them to do this meditation before they go onto the field is very important, because that's the mindset, that's the rhythm that you're creating in the body. We're always in the doing mode, but undoing is also important. So getting back to the breath, very, very easy. Just doing your alternate nostril breathing. Very, very slowly, breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out. If you want to, I can share some, some pranayama videos that I have done. Or what I recommend all the time is Sattva app, where there are meditations and pranayamas that are mentioned, that are there in that app, which is free for you to use. I would completely ask you to do that, because the nervous system, which is beneath your muscle and your fat tissue, must be regulated. Yeah. So for that to be regulated, this is very, very important as well. So if you can do that pranayama as well, is going to be important. Now, we'll talk about all the rasayanas that we can use. Yeah, the rasayanas that we can use while we're trying to build our muscle. The number one rasayana that is being used as a tea, as a capsules, as a boba also, it might come as a boba, I never know. Ashwagandha is very, very popular amongst everybody. So what is ashwagandha? It has ushna virya, it has hot potency. So it can break down easily. And when you are trying to increase your muscle strength and you're trying to increase your muscle in size, ashwagandha is definitely going to be beneficial for you. Now, you have to also make sure that it has madhura rasa and it is bruhana, which is it is balya, it is strong. It creates that strength in the body, which means you also have to make sure that you have proper digestive fire to break it down. So that is very important. So you can take ashwagandha as a churna, half a teaspoon of that in the morning on empty stomach. That's or with melted ghee. Like you can take half a teaspoon of ghee along with half a teaspoon of ashwagandha in the morning. That is absolutely okay. Or you can use ashwagandha. There are ashwagandha capsules that are also available. You can use that as well if taking churna is a problem. I would always prefer churna with a ghee. That's the easiest way to take it. Or if the digestive capacity is even more, there's something called ashwagandha lehyam, which is in a jam form. So just taking half a teaspoon of that in the morning is also going to be beneficial. Now, caution, you have to make sure that you're digesting it properly. Yeah. Then the next thing that you want to make sure, if there is diabetes, let's say, if there is prameha is what we call in Ayurveda, or excessive mucus that is present in the body, and we want to dry out all that excessive mucus, the most important herb that can be used is called shilajit. This shilajit is a mineral that is present. And it is necessary, it is going to be easy to take out the excessive and toning. So really, if you want to tone your body, and it is also an aphrodisiac, which means your reproductive juices are also going to be strengthened with shilajit. But you want to make sure that you're getting a proper sourcing of shilajit, because you never know where you're getting the sourcing from. this Vaijayanti, so I will say there is a I'll probably see if I can put a link to Atreya herbs. I actually like they have a proper sourcing of herbs. So let me just put their link here. That way it's easier for you to purchase if you wish to. Again, I'm not endorsing anybody, but I just wanted you all to, if you know of a pure source, you're more than welcome to get a pure source. And I don't I have Shilajit, and I just give it to if in a medical condition. I'm not giving it as a rasayana. But this is something that you can absolutely use in the morning. If it's a tablet form, just one tablet in the morning. But if you already have depletion, if you already have vata and pitta and there is a lot of depletion, don't use Shilajit to begin with. You want to make sure that you're strengthening yourself. You want to make sure that you're using milk, ghee, ashwagandha, shatavari, yashtimadhu, these kind of herbs to strengthen yourself first. If there is lots of kapha, and if there is a lot of obesity, and if there is a lot of laxity, diabetes, these kind of situations, I would prefer that you use Shilajit. Yeah. And if there is a lot of heat in the body, let's say there is acidity and heat, that kind of things that are present in the body, then two things that you can use are yashti madhu, yashti, licorice is going to be beneficial. And that you can use, like that also you can use half a teaspoon in the morning to reduce the heat that is present in the body. And for women, Shatavari is going to be beneficial. Shatavari is going to be helping with the reproductive juices for women. So Shatavari, half a teaspoon, or using Shatavari Kalpa is also going to be beneficial in the morning. So these are all the herbs that you can use. Again, I usually refrain from giving herbs like this. This is not generally something that I do. But if you, and I know a lot of you have been attending classes for a long time, and I know you will do it with caution, is why I'm giving different scenarios and I'm telling you that you can use it. But then always be in tune with your body. Always be checking with your body how your body is feeling when you start taking these. Then you will be able to, how long can one take these? You can take them safely for 5 to 6 months as well, by because these are all rasayanas. These are not usually in my clinic, I tell 3 to 4 months of herbs, and I don't want more than that. But these are all rasayanas. So rasayanas, usually, if it's a rasayana that you're using it as a food, like milk, ghee, and these are all lifetime rasayanas that you can use. But the rasayanas that I'm mentioning right now, you can use that for about 5 to 6 months. That's absolutely okay. Yes, Debanti.
So, I mean, obviously, Shatavari is like one of those things that's indicated for most women's sort of conditions. I was wondering, for, let's say, estrogenic disorders that women might have, right? Like endometriosis and things like that. Is Shatavari still good for those? Or should you stay away because of estrogenic properties?
Agree. So if there is excessive estrogen, like PCOS, let's say, or endometriosis, then I would not recommend Shatavari at all. Any recommendations that I'm giving is only assuming that you're fully healthy and you don't have any underlying conditions, and then you can use it. Otherwise, I would not prefer using them because it will aggravate the condition. Even the same thing with ashwagandha also. Same thing with anything. And that's why I'm saying the precondition for any of this is to make sure that you have you're healthy, fully healthy. Okay.
How safe is ashwagandha?
Very safe.
No, I said, how safe is it to take? Because I see a lot of people taking it for different reasons.
Right.
They have it for digestive purposes, for some other reasons other than this muscle.
I know. Unfortunately, it is being abused also.
Yeah.
So
Commercialized.
we don't want it to be abused, and that's why I was saying that it's coming out as a boba tea also now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't want to abuse it at all. Again, anything that is not used in balance is going to be causing imbalance. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that is absolutely good in the nature, and there's nothing that is absolutely bad. It
Oh.
all depends on how you use it.
And how much pure it is. It's walking. How much is walking going to help? Like for a 80 plus lady, how much walking should we do?
Okay, again, you want to make sure that your bones and your joints are allowing for you to do that.
Yeah.
If you walk and you're not able to do that, then maybe doing biking is much more beneficial than walking, because you're not going to put a lot of strain on your joints. Right? So sitting down and biking, especially because if you're 80 plus, balance can also be a problem. So in that situation, just a gentle walk and a slow walk is absolutely okay. You wouldn't want to do a fast walk,
Mm-hmm.
but biking is generally going to be safer because you're sitting down and you're not going to be creating. And water aerobics is also another thing. Water aerobics and biking are two things that's going to be very beneficial.
One question. Won't biking put stress on the knees? Because if
Not at
knees
all.
have, no?
Not at all. It's going to be actually strengthening your thighs.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Absolutely. So ashwagandha tea also, Aruna, you can use it, but you want to make sure that you are taking just the churna. Sorry, I don't even know how to turn these off right now. I'm part of my son's friends group. So they said, they warned me we are going to get 8,000 messages. So it seems like everybody is active right now, and I don't even know how to turn it off. So that's been happening now. Anyway, so the ashwagandha tea is something that if you're saying it's a herbal tea and if you want to have it for fun, you can definitely have it for fun. But that's not something that you want to use it as a rasayana. What is the reason that you're using it for? If you want to use it as a rasayana on a daily basis, then I would get a pure source of ashwagandha churna and mix it in warm water and make the tea myself instead of getting a ashwagandha tea bag, only because I don't know what the processing has been done. And a lot of time people are like, I want to take out the active ingredient, because even with turmeric, that's what they're doing, right? I want to take out the curcumin because I know that the curcumin is much more active. Then what's the difference between using an allopathic medication and an Ayurvedic whole herb? So I would prefer that you use the churna, but for fun, if you want to use ashwagandha tea once in a while, it's okay. I don't want you to make it a practice. I hope that makes sense. So that is generally how I would approach you. Even if you have sport players in the house, make sure that they are doing their abhyanga at least 3 to 4 times in a week. After they come back from play is okay, before is okay, and making sure that they are eating these unctuous foods, because protein powder is very drying. It is an extract and it is also very dry. We know that you want to create that unctuousness. So that is why it is important to create that balance when you're giving medication, when you're giving these food, and giving them breath work to slow down. So if you follow this, and consistency with exercise, it is something that you want to make sure that you're doing it consistently. Any exercise or weightlifting, all of these that you're doing, you want to make sure that you're building upon it every single day. All of these marathon runners and all of these people that have trained, you see that you always see that the life of them is shorter, right? All of these, because they use it from the future. We say that they use whatever their future is, they're using it now itself. When you see all of these athletes, the lifespan is not longer for them, generally. I'm not saying it's for everybody. So you want to make sure that you are always protecting your tissues when this is your goal in life, when you want to make sure sports is your goal, when you want to make sure that you are doing marathons and triathlons and all of this. This is very important. Now I'm going to come to you, Karthik, but I want to tell you a story. I was doing a podcast the other day, and the person that was interviewing me said, you have to meet this person. She's a 27-year-old, and she's done many triathlons, and she does Ayurveda. She's in Stanford, and she's achieved so much at the age of 27 itself. And I said, unfortunately, glorifying people like this has created a problem in the society also, where people are aspiring to be that person all the time. So we want to make sure that we are accepting ourselves as where we are at this point, and then aspiring to be a person how you want to be yourself. Because yes, there are going to be superhumans and super people that will be doing triathlons and all of these things, but is that because they're doing it, is that going to be the goal of your life? It's not necessary. Not necessary that all of us have to be a sports person, not necessary that all of us have to be a triathlon doers. But strength is important, and making sure endurance is important. If that is what your goal is, then you have to give that much importance only for it, not continuously glorifying people that are putting their time for this only. Yeah, so that's one thing that I just wanted to say, that it's very important. Karthik.
Hey, Manju. Hey, talking about ashwagandha, I had gotten the ashwagandha vegetarian capsules from Costco. I don't know how it is because it's still there sitting on my counter and I still haven't used it. But what are your thoughts on that particular thing? It's from U Theory, 1,000 milligrams ashwagandha. This one, I was just curious, so that's why I bought one bottle of it.
Yeah. It's okay. You can use it. I'm sure there are some additives and preservatives added to it. I don't know. I did not see the bottle myself, unfortunately, but I know there must be some additives and preservatives or parabens, or I don't know what is added to it. But
I'll text you. I'll text you the ingredient
sure.
thing.
Sure. But yeah, so you can use it. But again, like I said, I wouldn't want to use the processed thing. I want to use a whole herb. Getting it as a whole herb is going to be more beneficial than this. It is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong in this. I'm not saying that it is wrong. It is okay to use it as well because you got it. But if I were given a choice, I would not go with the Costco one because of the
Yep,
amount of processing that is being done. I would just get it
got it.
from the source directly.
And do these all have expiration dates? These herbs and
Yes, the churna, usually within 6 months, expiration. What is expiration, right? Expiration is reducing the potency. The potency
Hmm.
of the herb reduces. It's not like it's going to give you any harmful effects, but the potency of the herb definitely reduces. If it's a churna, it reduces within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Hi, Shashwati.
Hey, hi Manju. Good evening.
Hi.
I have a quick question about something that you mentioned at the beginning of this meeting. You said if you're traditionally non-vegetarian, then you can continue eating non-vegetarian.
Yeah.
But I have a question about that related to my husband. So my husband
Sure.
has been non-vegetarian pretty much his whole life. He belongs to a family who's primarily non-vegetarian, but he has turned vegetarian for the last couple of years. Is that going to impact his muscle growth, or yeah? So he has been vegetarian for 7 years now. So is that going to impact his, like, as he ages? Is that going to impact him in any way?
Now, I have to tell you the truth that absolutely yes. The reason I'm saying that is I did the same. I come from a meat eating background,
I
and
see.
I quit. I think it's been 15 years that I quit meat.
15 years?
15 years.
My gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I know that it has absolutely affected my muscle.
Mhm.
So there's no denial in that. There's no denial, and I know that's what I have accepted for my other goal of spiritual path, right? So it is what your path is. If you're sure with that, and if you're compromising on the other thing, then that's okay. But if muscle growth is your goal, then definitely you would want to go back to eating meat, right? So you want to make sure what you want to be sure of what your goal is. For me, I know my goal is being in the spiritual path, and doing all of this is my goal. And that's why I compromised that, yes, my muscle growth is not going to be as much. I'm going to be doing all the oiling, I'm going to be doing the vegetarian protein, but I know I compromise on that. So, yes, that's going to be a little bit of a compromise. I'm sorry. But you have to be working extra hard than the other vegetarians to make sure that you get that much amount of protein.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yep, that answers my question. Thanks, Manju.
absolutely. Naga.
How to, if you have a fresh ashwagandha plant, how
Yeah.
can that be used?
You can use it, but the leaves are not as useful. You
Okay.
want to use the stem, and the roots are going to be much more useful.
Okay.
By the time we get the stem and the roots, it's going to be a longer time. You can use it as a tea. Like someone was asking, Aruna was asking if we can make an ashwagandha tea. If you can get the bark and the roots and you're able to dry them and you can make a tea out of it, absolutely you can use that. Or you can make a churna from that. You can, desiccate it and make it into a powder and you can use that. But leaves does not have the potency. There are 5 parts of a plant, and each herb has the potency in a particular part. And here you have it in the stem and the roots. So
Okay.
that's what you have to do.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, once you grow it, make sure that you make it into a forest so that all of us can use it. We'll come to your home and we'll all have a party. We'll all make a ashwagandha desiccation party. And we will all separate it. We will all use it.
Okay, let me try to propagate that.
Yeah. Prasanna.
Oh, thank you, Manju. I think I may know what you may say, but for
Do you want to
ashwagandha,
listen to my
Manju,
mouth?
no, for ashwagandha, some of the IBS sites have said that it increases IBS. There's like there's Spoonful app and there's all these different apps. But so that's why I've kind of refrained from taking it. What do you think? Is there
Absolutely,
alternative?
yes. It can. It can, which means, so again, what is IBS, right? Anything that it is a vulnerability in your body. The irritation that is present in the small intestine is the vulnerability of your body. Now, any undigested food that is present in the body can increase the vulnerability of the body. Now, if ashwagandha is not digesting properly, it can become your undigested food also, and it can increase the vulnerability. Like someone was saying that it was giving them racing heartbeat, it was giving them palpitations, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that this is something that all of us can take forever, all the time, without any side effects. No, I'm not glorifying ashwagandha, saying that this is absolutely that somebody can take it all the time. That's why I'm saying when you're taking it, you have to make sure that you observe what is happening. You have to be checking in with your body. Are you digesting it fully well? If you're not digesting it fully well, then you're not eligible to take it. So you cannot say, oh, Manju said that, yes, I'll just take ashwagandha, that will increase my muscle, and forget about the exercise that I spoke about, forget about the abhyanga I spoke about, forget about the proper protein and all the dinacharya that we spoke about. Then absolutely it's going to cause problems. So it is a full package. It is not only one thing.
Yeah. One last question.
Yes.
What is moringa leaves and why is it called superfood? Does it help really that much? Moringa leaves. There is a powder these days.
Yeah. I know they use it in all the, all the curries. They're like adding the powder to it. Yes, it does to an extent, because what it does is it is heating, or meaning it increases the digestive capacity of the body. So all of us, we are suffering from some to a level of indigestion.
Right.
Now, moringa leaf powder is going to be beneficial in increasing the digestive capacity of the body. By increasing the digestive capacity of the body, it is allowing us to digest the other foods. That is how moringa powder is beneficial. Moringa powder by itself is not increasing your muscle or your immunity directly.
Okay.
It is increasing your digestive capacity and thus allowing to digest the other foods and allow those foods to become your tissues. That's how it's going to be beneficial.
Oh, very clear. Thank you. These days, so many things are commercialized. My God, I mean, superfoods, which I
know.
don't think
So let's go back to
myself.
our own superfoods. No, we have our own superfoods. We have our milk, we have our tea, we have our rice, we have our wheat, and we have our vegetables, we have our lentils. So these are our superfoods.
And herbs, our pudina and curry patta and all that, they are pretty good too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much for
Very
Yes.
nice.
I'm sorry I missed most of it, but it's still very helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Manju, one quick question.
Yes.
Please suggest vitamin B12 rich foods.
Vitamin B12 rich foods. I just put that on my Instagram a few days back. You want to make sure that, again, absorption is important. If there is no proper absorption, then you will not be able to absorb it properly. Unfortunately, meat is the good source of vitamin B12. There is, you want to do like the meat soup and the bone soup is the best thing that I always say when you want to do vitamin B12. But when you want to do vegetarian, there is very, very limited, milk is something that you can also do. Nuts, soaked almonds are something that you can do. And leafy greens are some things that you can cooked though. Do not do raw vegetables. You want to I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay. And you want to, you can do amla, along with rock sugar. That is also the way it can absorb is going to be better. So cooked green leafy vegetables, soaked almonds, milk, and I don't know if eggs, if you're considering them as a vegetarian, you can absolutely use that also. Cooked, like a scrambled egg with herbs and spices is possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's very useful.
Absolutely. At 7:32. Thank you all so much for joining.
Uh,
I have one
Manju.
question, Manju.
Yes, we can take
Uh,
one last question. Yes, Dhanalakshmi.
Can you do Abhyanga at the night time?
I would
Before
not
going to
prefer. I would not
Okay.
prefer. If you don't have any other time, then you would, finish your dinner by 6 and then you can do your Abhyanga and then shower. Make sure that you shower. One time I told someone, okay, they said they were applying oil and they were sleeping like that all night and then waking up in the morning and then showering in the morning.
Yeah, I'll do bath after Abhyanga.
Yeah. So then you want to make sure that you have at least 3 to 4 hours gap between your dinner.
Okay.
Then do Abhyanga. That is okay. That is okay. But usually nighttime is for calming down and all of your body, it's going to sleep. You want to make sure that you're nourishing it and sleeping it, allowing it to calm down. But it's okay. If you don't have any other time, then this is the way that you can incorporate it.
Okay. Thank you. Can I
where
use
can we find the old videos?
It's on my YouTube. You can search for Ayurhitam and
Okay.
it's on my YouTube.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Mamta, one herb to increase digestive capacity is dry ginger powder. It is called Vishwa Bheshaja. That is something that is a universal medicine.
Is it like Sunti?
Shunti, correct.
So,
Wonderful.
all right.
Okay,
Thank you so
okay.
much.
By default, yeah.
much.
Thank you very much.
I'll log out.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all for
Thank you so
joining
much.
and
Thank
see you all
you.
next month.
Thank you, Manju.
Thank you,
All right.
Manju. Bye.
Bye all.
Thanks,
Bye.
Manju. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mugdha, for joining.